Okay, so my name is Tamika. I'm a financial education coach with Prosperity Connection, and today we're going to talk about asking a lender to defer a payment for you. If you're familiar with our organization, we're a nonprofit. If you're not familiar with our organization, we're a nonprofit that offers 100% free one-on-one financial coaching sessions, and we also teach financial education classes that are also free. If you are interested, feel free to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel. So let's go ahead and get started in today's topic. Some topics we're going to be discussing today are what is a deferment? We're going to go over mortgage deferments and loan modifications, auto modifications, personal loan modifications. We're going to discuss credit card options. We're going to go ahead and summarize that for you and give you some ideal questions that you can ask the lender when reaching out for help during these times. So let's go ahead and pull back the curtains on the most difficult part, late payment notices. At some point in your life, you may have seen these notices before, one or two of them, and I know it gets embarrassing. It brings anxiety on. It creates a pit in your stomach that seems to stick around for a while after seeing these notices, but it's okay. It's not the end of the world, and hopefully information relayed today will help you find ease whenever these payments notices show up in the future so that you don't necessarily feel like you're in huge trouble. These notices simply mean that it's time to take action, and we want to prepare you to do that. Deferment. A deferment is an arrangement that allows you to postpone a loan payment temporarily. Instead of making your scheduled payments, you can pay nothing at all, or you can choose to pay a portion of your required payment. It's important to remember that just because you are receiving a deferment or a modification on that loan, it does not mean that you're no longer responsible for that monthly payment. They're going to do a couple of options. They're either going to add that payment to the back of the loan, spread it out evenly across the loan. They can extend the due date, or they can apply it in a separate payment plan. So what they can do is they can take that payment and they can spread it out and say, well, what we're going to do is let you skip this monthly payment, but we're going to spread it out over a payment plan of 3 monthly payments that you'll pay in addition to your future monthly payments, if that option seems feasible for you. But before calling a lender, you want to make sure that you're prepared to explain. You want to call your lender and you want to express the hardship and the reason that you cannot pay. You want to give them your current income if you have any. And you also want to let them in on your prospects for future income and any other obligations that you must fulfill at the same time as well. So if you have any other bills that you are needing to pay, that is a must that you pay, at the same time as getting your deferment with this lender, you want to let them know that, hey, I have to pay my childcare fees, or I have to pay this. These are necessities to me from the income that I've given you. Whatever is left over is what I can afford to pay. You want to make sure that you're crucially honest, and that's what's going to give them that motive to help you with your deferment. So be sure that when you're doing that, you're not agreeing to any payment plans that you cannot afford to pay back. That's most important, because if you make a second deferment or agreement, that's going to stick. You want to make sure that you can pay that. Not paying that deferment is going to lead to you not being able to pay the first one and not being able to pay the second one. If you cannot afford to pay something, please let them know that you cannot afford to pay what they're offering. Don't accept it just because it's a little farther back with the payment date or the due date than the payment you're calling about that day. Please make sure that you're honest with that, and please remember to remain calm. If you lose your temper, you won't get anywhere. So make sure that you do remain calm and understand that I'm calling and I'm asking for help. I do want a genuine response. So what happens if I can't make a payment? That's a difficult part, because not being able to make a payment seems irresponsible, but it's not. It's the actions that you take after realizing that you can't make that payment that determines whether you're responsible or not. Obviously, no one wants to miss their mortgage payment, but life can be pretty unpredictable. And during these unfortunate, uncertain times with COVID-19, worrying about missing a mortgage payment can add on a load of stress on top of what many citizens are already dealing with. When deciding between feeding your family and paying your mortgage, the mortgage tends to be a little less urgent when it comes to feeding your family. Be sure to take some time to breathe, Federal mortgage servicing laws will prevent the start of foreclosure on your home or a home of a borrower until it's more than 120 days late. So make sure you know that if I miss one payment, if I feel like I'm going to miss the second payment, this does not mean they're going to sit all of my belongings out on the curb. So make sure you know that, while it's urgent, you're not going to be evicted from your home. This doesn't mean take the 120-day break before making that payment. This is simply to reassure you that small mistakes aren't detrimental to the overall ownership of your home. There are many steps that you can take to soften the blow of a financial crisis, such as missing the mortgage payment. The first step should always, always, always be contacting your mortgage lender as soon as you know that you cannot make the payment. Don't wait till the delinquent date is there, because then you may end up late and have less options available to you. Informing a lender before the delinquency can show that you are a responsible borrower, and lenders tend to be more accommodating if you notify them first. The worst thing a borrower can do is disregard the importance of communication with the lender. People often avoid this step due to embarrassment, but you won't know what your options are until you ask. So always be open, be honest, and be ready to explain your situation. You want to contact the lender ASAP as soon as you know that I cannot afford to pay, even if the date hasn't come up, even if you feel like I may have a chance of coming up with the funds for that monthly payment. You want to let them know what's going on. You want to give them some kind of warning. There's also the grace period. The lender may remind you of a grace period. It's usually about 7 to 15 days after the payment is due, and it may not consist of a late fee. So it's important that you do know your policy, you read over your contract, and you do understand if you do or do not have a grace period. That will help you, because if I am not going to get paid on the day that my payment is due, but maybe a week later, I may be able to make this payment without feeling like everything is completely late or over. This is it. I'm late. I'm going to be in trouble. That grace period is there to step in and help you, because they do understand that things happen. Also 30 days late, safe credit reporting. So what happens is sometimes we find ourselves needing more than the 15 days to make that late payment. A borrower may find that their payment may be up to 30 days late before they get the funds. While this does consist of a late fee, it's typically about 3%, up to maybe about $4 of your monthly payment. While it may consist of a late fee, it's important to remember that you will not take a hit to your credit report until your payment is actually 30 days late. I tell you all the time, if it's that payment is going to be 30 days late, can you make it by the 29th day? Because if you can make it by the 29th day, that'll be great. Payment plans. There are often payment plans that you may qualify for. There are some times where 30 days is just not time. You could be furloughed, you could have lost your job. It's a lot that could have went on that will make that payment more than 30 days late. So it's important that you try and get your payment in by the 29th day. If you know it's going to be 30 days, then call your lender, contact them, and let them know that my payment may be 30 days late. I won't make that 30-day deadline, and they may offer a payment plan or something that can help you avoid that late payment being reported to the credit bureau. They can do things such as push it to the back of the loan. Apologies. They can do something to the back of the loan. They can do things like push it to the back of the loan, or they may be able to spread it out or give you an additional payment plan. So just make sure that whatever you're doing, you are contacting that lender. A loan modification is another step that you may take. And it's almost the last step it's almost the last step before going through with your late payment. So with that loan modification, a loan modification is a forbearance that is a formal agreement between the lender and the borrower. This agreement may modify or amend a pre-existing loan agreement or contract. It's the act of making a new contract to replace the first one. So if you feel like you're going to be a little more delinquent, your delinquency is going to be a little bit seriouser than just the 30 days, you may want to contact your lender and ask about a loan modification or a forbearance. It's a formal agreement between the lender and the borrower, and this agreement has been created to make sure that they are assisting you in avoiding the default. So with that, hopefully they are able to give you a loan modification. Most loan modifications are good for 12 months. And that 12-month, they may lower your payment. So say you have a $400 monthly payment, and they are able to lower it to $200 for the year, for the 12-month period. You can pay that lower amount for the annual time, and then it'll go back to $400 after that loan modification. It's also important to know that you may apply for more than one loan modifications on the same loan. They do not like to approve too many and too recently, but you can apply for more than one loan modification. Often people think that you get that one shot, when there's a possibility that if you say, oh, well, I've already done a loan modification, it won't work now. At least call and ask and see if that's something that they are able to give you. Loan modifications are designed to offer the ability to adjust your terms of your loan. You may say, is it possible that I lower my interest rate? Is it possible that I spread my loan out a little longer to extend the term and lower that monthly payment? And do it forbearance. A lender may say, well, right now we will suspend periods for a short period of time while you get back on your feet. There's a lot of things that lenders will do to prevent you from defaulting. Defaulting is not in the best interest of the lender because both parties lose. So feeling anxious, talking about a late payment can give anybody anxiety. It's important to remember that there's no worries. Always remember that you won't be the first or the last person to miss a payment. I promise you will not be the first and you will not be the last person to miss that payments. Lenders create products to help borrowers avoid defaulting. Defaulting on your home leads to lengthy court proceedings, lengthy, costly amounts. It's just avoided at all costs. The lender will, and hopefully you will work with the lender to avoid that. Things to remember when contacting a lender: always, always, always remain calm. Anytime that we're in a stressful situation, we react different, and sometimes we react out of character. We want to make sure that we do remain calm, and we do understand that this is a defaultment on our behalf. We don't want to yell, we don't want to scream, we don't want to demand. We simply want to call and say, hey, something's happened with me and I need help. Be open, be honest, let them know what's going on. Trying to cover up things leads you down a path that you don't want to follow. So make sure that you are open and you are honest with them and ask about your options. What options do I have available? This is what's going on. Do you have anything or a product that may help me through my certain situation? So make sure you prepare yourself to talk with that lender. Due to COVID-19, millions of Americans are finding themselves out of work, laid off, just cut hours. A lot has gone on since COVID-19 started. Many mortgage lenders are offering deferment payment plans up to 12 months. They're also offering specialized products specifically for this pandemic. Make sure that even though I've called in the past and they've told me that they only had these options, that I do call right now if I'm being affected due to COVID-19, because they do have specialized plans. They have insurance companies that are reimbursing or refunding insurers about 15 to 25% of their insurance costs. And if I am paying less for my insurance, or if they are reimbursing me for a certain amount and I'm not working, that's money that I do need to know about. So make sure you look through every aspect of your life. If you are dealing with cutbacks or being laid off, make sure you go through each company that you're dealing with for all products and see if they have anything that they offer to help you. The most important thing that I want to remember for this slide is be sure not to agree to a term or product or a commitment that you will not be able to follow through with. A lot of times, many people do agree to a plan because they're saying, oh, I can pay everything in 60 days. But if I'm not working, I don't know if I'll be working in 60 days. I'm not sure if that's something that I can commit to and be able to follow through with. And if I don't, that means I've defaulted twice. So make sure that you're not getting comfortable with the thought of not paying right now, that you're accepting things that are probably not possible later. Let them know, okay, well, I understand you said I can pay everything in 60 days, but I'm not sure if I'll be working in 60 days. Do you have any other options for me? Of course, I'm going to try and get everything in the 60 days, but I can't promise you I will. And when you sign a contract, that's exactly what it is. It's a promise. So make sure that you are reading those steps. I took some time to contact the studentloans.gov. And due to COVID-19, some federal loans may have been temporarily reduced to 0% interest, and they are automatically in forbearance from March 13, 2020 to September 30th, 2020. These loans include defaulted and non-defaulted direct loans, defaulted and non-defaulted FLEL program loans, and also federal Perkins loans. So they have went through and they have automatically put these loans in forbearance. That does not mean that you're not responsible for them anymore. It means that they're not going to require you to make a payment until after September 30th. If you were late in January and February, you will not be late for the following months up to September, but you will have that pass-through balance to pay after September 30th. So it's important to make sure that you know that while I won't be accruing any interest and I won't be making any payments during that time period, that the balance is not going to go anywhere. It's still going to be there, and I'm expected to consume my payments after September 30th. This includes subsidized and unsubsidized loans that are student loans with the federal government. If you have loans outside of federal government loans, then make sure you contact your loan servicer to see what specific details you have for you. Credit card options. Often in a regular period, you have credit card options. You can call with hardship outside of COVID-19. You can call with hardship and you can say, hey, I can't afford to make my payments this month. Is there a possible way that you can lower my interest rates? A lot of credit card companies will put you at 0% interest for a period of time, maybe up to 6 months, to allow you to pay down that principal. Some of them will reduce it. It's important to know your credit card rate is on a rate across the board. They have a set rate that increases annual. It seems like it increases annual. It doesn't seem like it ever goes down, but your rate is not going to stay the same forever. At times, the prime does increase, and so will your credit card interest rate. So it's important to know that just because I'm this high, it doesn't mean they can't lower it. A lot of companies like Capital One will go in and they will lower your payment for up to 6 months, so you can pay down that principal and potentially save funds during your critical time. And this is something that they like to offer outside of the hardship of COVID-19. When you call your credit card company and let them know that you can't afford to make a payment, they probably most likely will lower that credit limit for you. Some companies may lower the credit limit to prevent you from going farther into debt because they know that you don't have the funds, but you have the need right now. The pro with that is that it prevents further debt, less money, less problems. The con of it is that it increases your utilization percentage. If I have a $5,000 limit credit card and I'm at $4,000, I'm pretty high in my utilization as it is. But if I'm spending $4,000 and they lower my limit to $4,000, now I'm at 100% utilization, which will automatically drop my credit score. So there is a con with them lowering your credit limit, but it's worth it because that means that I cannot have more than $4,000 in debt. So that's the pro. Personal loans. A lot of credit card companies also offer personal loans. If your credit card company offers personal loan, they may offer you the ability to take your credit card limit and put that in a personal loan. So you can pay it down with a lower interest rate than you would get on your credit card, and you can pay it at a flat monthly rate that doesn't change each month. The important thing to remember is that you have to read the fine print. There may be an origination fee, where as to when you walk into the bank, they may not charge you when you apply for a loan to have the loan or to get the loan. Most credit card companies and personal loan companies online will charge you an origination fee for setting up that loan. So make sure you read through the contract and the fine print before considering getting that credit card personal loan. So credit card companies, in addition, have also created and offered hardship plans. I know that there are some companies that I've received notice for that stated that they were going to not require a minimum payment for 3 months. So the interest is still going to build up on some of them, but I'm not required to make a minimum payment, which means I can't miss a payment. I still do make payments on my credit cards if I use them, but they're not requiring me to make a payment, which allows many consumers to place that bill at the back of the stack. This is not requiring me. I do want to pay it, but it's not requiring me to make a payment right now. So I need to prioritize the things that are requiring me to make a payment at the very moment. I might want to push it to the back and put that money towards my mortgage, or I want to push it to the back and put it towards my car loan. But it gives you that option of pushing that payment back. And they also have deferred payment plans where they are allowing you to do payment amounts on your minimum payment. So they may say your payment every month is $25. And while your minimum payment might be $25, that's the amount that should not change. So auto loan default. A lot of people worry because if I don't pay my auto loan, they're going to take my car. That's the one thing that you should not be worried about. Auto lenders do not want your car. They are not salesmen. They don't want to sell the car. They don't want to do where they have to auction it or try and get the value back. They do not want your car. Repossessing the car is not a fun process for the lender. It's a long, tedious, and costly product because now I have to pay a tow company to come and pick up the car. So I'm not getting funds from the borrower. Now I have to pay somebody to come and pick up the car. And now I have to sell or auction the car to try and get my money out of it, which most of the time lenders do not get all of their money out of it. So because of these reasons, they're going to do everything in their power to help you stay in that vehicle. It's important to know that you are not at risk for repossession until you're about 90 days late on that payment. You don't want to get 90 days late. You want to stay as far away from the threat as possible, but you want to make sure that you are communicating with your auto loan lender to let them know what's going on and what attempts are you making to get them their funds. So neither party wants the auto loan default. It's important to remember that they don't just want to take your car. They're just not after you for that. They want to work with you because if you pay, you both win. So there are options when it comes to auto loans and personal loans. A lot of companies may offer an in-house refinance at a lower payment if your hours are decreased. It's important to remember that if you have no income, you cannot do an in-house refinance. We understand that other things are going on, and you may ask for a modification instead. But if you have no income, they won't refinance the vehicle because it's just like getting a new loan to cover the old one. You have to have income anytime you're applying for a loan. What a lot of companies are doing is they're offering skip pays, and this allows you to skip a monthly payment. When you skip a monthly payment, it does not mean the payment goes away. It means that the payment goes to the back of the loan. So you're still going to eventually have to pay it, and you're still going to pay interest on it, but that required payment, again, that required payment right now is not going to be required. Some companies charge a fee for the skip payments. Some are not charging a fee. And during this time, a lot of people are waiving that fee. So make sure you reach out to your personal loan lender or your auto loan lender and ask if they allow skip pays. And be direct with your auto lender as they may have a specialized program that they are not advertising online. A lot of times when we want to know if we can afford to miss a payment, we go online and we try and do all the research without actually talking to somebody physically because we want to avoid that feeling you get when you ask for help. But they might not have the product listed online, but they have something specialized for you in their company. So even though it's not advertised, it's possible. Make sure that you do contact your lender. So in summary on this topic, when contacting a lender, you want to call your lender as soon as possible, as soon as you know that you cannot make that payment. It's the crucial step. You always want them to know that you're calling them instead of them having to call you for non-payment. Ignoring the problem will not make it go away. Ask about your options. You may have a ton of options available to you that you might not know. I did speak with somebody that works in the lending department today, and she said that she called some guy to let them know that his payment was late. And he stated that he didn't know his payment was late, which he may have did. Nervous systems kicks in. But she said, well, did you know that there's money in this account and we do have a program? If you were able to send me your income and your letter stating that you have been furloughed, we can go ahead and lower your payments and cut them in half. These are opportunities that they call to let him know that he did not know and he did not plan on calling in to ask for. So make sure that you do understand that calling in, you may have these options available to you that you're not sure of, that you won't get with avoidance. Be sure to read the fine print, read the fees, read everything on your contract. When you sign a loan, you get your contract, and it's usually the last time you see that paper until a problem arises. Make sure that during this time you are taking the opportunity to pull out those loan contracts and read over them and see if there's any clauses in there that may be relevant now. And choose options that will not further increase your debt. Make sure that you are not accumulating more debt. I always want to tell people to make sure that you avoid predatory lending at all costs during these times, because when we come out of these times, you're still going to be left with that super high interest rate payday loan or other predatory lending loan products. It's important to make sure you avoid them at all costs. The first step should always be your own financial institution before going to those. At least let them tell you no before you attempt to go there. I know that sometimes it's unavoidable, but take all the necessary steps and options before getting to that point. Some questions that you are always able to ask are, what are my options? Am I able to refinance the loan to extend the term or lower the interest rate to create a smaller monthly payment? Am I able to defer my payment for a few days or, just a few months until my expected income come in? Let them know that I'm expecting this income to come in. I've applied for unemployment and they state that it could take up to 21 days. This is the day I'm expected to have funds in my account. Is there a way we can make it for a couple of days after that to make sure the funds make it? These are questions you want to make sure that you are asking or speaking with the lender about. Am I able to only pay interest and defer the principal balance? A lot of times the principal, how much you owe and how much you'll pay. The interest is how much the lender is getting paid for giving you the loan. If I'm going to pay you what I owe you for giving me the loan, can I at least defer the amount or the principal that I owe? That's not going to do anything but make them more interest, and that might be a feasible option for them. So ask if you can pay the interest. If I pay the interest and defer the principal, is that okay? And do you have any hardship plans? I do have a hardship going on right now, and this is going on, and that happened, and this happened, and I would like to know if you have any options to help me. So these are all options that you can pursue with your lender. The number one key step is always going to be communication. So that is all we have today. Be sure to go back on our Facebook page or prosperityconnection.org and look at our monthly blogs. I did do 3 blogs this week in reference to what we're talking about now. They have a little bit more detail towards the subject of that blog, but you're free to go back and look at those blogs. We have other videos and other classes that we've recorded in the month of April, Money Smart Month. Please go back and look at those if you're interested in any of those topics. Always feel free to reach out for a financial education coach session. It's free. We don't charge anything at prosperityconnection.org. And thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please reach out to a coach or place them in the comment section or the chat box, and we'll get to you as soon as possible. Thank you.